How to talk to a husband or wife without fighting. This is part one of the Communication Breakthrough series. And let me guess, you're struggling with communication with a supposedly romantic partner, a spouse, a husband, wife, concubine. No, I'm just kidding. You ever tried to defuse a ticking time bomb with a butter knife? No? Well, that's basically what it feels like when you try to have a serious talk with your partner at the wrong time. You're sitting there thinking, okay, we're finally going to clear the air. But before you know it, boom! An explosion of frustration, eye rolls, the dreaded, you always do this. A lie, an exaggeration. Yeah, not exactly the heart-to-heart conversation you were hoping for, right? But don't worry, we're about to change that. Before I continue, be sure to register for our next masterclass on how to fix a broken marriage and reignite love in 45 days. You can register at www.getmymarriageback.com. So I'm Ola, one half of a partnership with my wife Lola. We launched Lola.com in 2018, co-authored the book Get My Marriage Back, and we've helped countless couples and individuals, not just to save their marriages, but to save their lives, make their lives better. All right, so now with that out of the way, in a previous video, we talked about what to do when your marriage feels hopeless. And today we're going to take that a step further, because once you've stopped the downward spiral, you need to rebuild communication the right way. So let's talk about how to communicate with your partner, husband, your wife, your girlfriend, or boyfriend, a romantic partner without fighting. And trust me, if you've ever found yourself in a conversation that started with, we need to talk, and ended with, forget it, I don't even care anymore, this is for you. All right, let's get into it. One of our clients, Candice, she came frustrated, completely frustrated. She came to us. She said, Ola, every time I try to talk to my husband about our issues, it turns out to be an argument. I stay calm when he just gets defensive. I asked Candice, when are you having this conversation? And then she thought about it. And she said, well, usually when we are both already upset. This brings us to the first key to better communication as we count down. Tip number 5, right place, right timing. See, certain environments change certain outcomes. That's just the truth, the reality. You wouldn't try to have a deep emotional conversation while your husband or your wife is running late for work, right? At least I hope not. Candice was trying to have serious talks when emotions were already running high. Basically trying to put out the fire with gasoline. Think about that, right? If you want to communicate effectively, you need to choose the right time and setting. Like when you're both relaxed, or better yet, when things are already good. I'll be honest, my personal challenge was that I used to have forgotten, or maybe not in the mood for serious conversation once we are over the issues. So it's tricky. It's like, what's the point of bringing it up again, right? But think of it like this. Think of it like planting a seed. If you drop it in dry, cracked soil, nothing's going to grow. Or plant it in the right conditions and boom, progress, right? So now, before we dive into the next tip, if this is already hitting home for you, please do me a favor, please. Hit like, subscribe, follow, and turn on your notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's keep going. Tip number 4 of 5. Own your thoughts. Use I statements. You ever had someone tell you, you never listen to me? Or, quote unquote, you always do this, whatever it is, usually something bad, right? How did that make you feel? Defensive, right? That's because statements like that feel like an attack. And when people feel attacked, guess what? They don't listen. They defend. Also, those statements are lies and at least exaggerations. Anytime you catch yourself using words like never, always with respect to your partner's behavior, it's probably lies. Very likely, okay? It's not always, but probably a lie, okay? Instead of those 4 statements, try this. Instead of you never listened, try I feel unheard when we don't have these discussions. It's a small shift in your own language, of course, but it makes a huge difference. It moves the needle a big time. You're no longer pointing fingers. You're just sharing how you feel. You own it. And guess what? That's way easier for the spouse to hear. Candice tried this with her husband. Instead of saying, "You don't care about my feelings," she said, "I feel disconnected from you. And I miss when we used to talk more." I know, awkward, but try it. If it feels difficult, it's a high risk, high reward thing. His response, instead of getting defensive, he actually listened, because people don't argue with your feelings the way they argue with accusations. All right? Does that make sense? Let's move to tip number 3 or 5. No one cares about anything outside of their feelings. I know. It sounds harsh, but hear me out. It's the reality. When we communicate, we're all operating from our emotional world. Yes, including men. And if you're not paying attention to your partner's feelings, especially on a subconscious level, your words won't land in the right environment. So Candice used to go into conversations thinking, "I just need to make him see my point." Big mistake, because her husband wasn't looking for logic, as he might have claimed. Like most men, they claim they are logical, but he was looking to be felt. Not so masculine, huh? Well, we all get caught up in our emotions sometimes. So instead of trying to prove a point, she started asking, "How are you feeling about this?" She started validating his emotions before offering the perspective. And guess what? That was the breakthrough. All right, tip number 2 or 5. Agreement is a patience and process game. I get it. You want to clear the air. You want to get on the same page as soon as possible. But here's the truth. Understanding doesn't happen in one conversation. Can we agree on that? If you go into every discussion expecting instant agreement, you'll be frustrated every single time. You see, Candice used to try to fix frustrations in a single talk, all right? Our own personal frustration, but probably, I don't know if she was thinking about her husband, but if we could just sit down and hash it out in one quick moment, everything will be fine. No, that's not how it works. But the more she pushed to be understood, she called it resolution, by the way, the more her husband pulled away, usually leading to a complete shutdown. Why? Because emotions don't work on a schedule. Agreement isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. So instead of demanding, "Let's settle this right now," give it space. Let the conversation breathe. Trust that progress is happening, even if you can't see it right away. All right, let's bring this home with the finale. Tip number 1, finale. Active listening is 80% of effective communication. Most people think they are listening when they are really just waiting for their turn to talk. Candice had this habit. Her husband will be sharing something, and instead of really hearing his point of view, she'd be mentally preparing her response. So we told her, for 1 week, just 1 week, try something different. When he talks, don't think about what you're going to say next. Just listen, nod, make eye contact, reflect back what he's saying. And guess what? Her husband noticed, even though it was weird at first. Because feeling heard is one of the most powerful ways to build connection. That's true on both sides. But my focus is to help you as an individual first. And then you can influence the change you want. And here's the kicker. When Candice started truly listening, her husband started listening to her more too. Funny how that works, right? Now, if you want to take these insights even further and apply them directly to your marriage, to your relationship, would love to help. Just go to www.getmymarriageback.com or click the link in the description for our next masterclass, which covers the 3 systems that we can deploy into your situation, into your relationship, that we use to help our clients fix communication and other types of issues in 45 days. We've helped countless individuals and couples, and we can help you too. The class is free. All right, before we wrap up, let's start the pot a little. Some people believe that in relationships, honesty should always be blunt. Say what you mean, right? No sugarcoating. Others believe that how you say things matter more than just being honest. So, what do you think? Should couples always say exactly what's on their mind? Honesty. Or does delivery matter just as much as the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take. And don't forget, hit like, subscribe, follow, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next video where we're going to talk about the #1 communication trick to end arguments fast. I'll be right back with that.